Okay. Mm. Mhm. Mm. Mm. Mhm. Mhm. Mm. Mhm. 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 Hmm. Hello, guys. Welcome to today's live stream. So, gold is still bearish. The structure remains to the downside. The pressure is still building on the downside, and we can see very strong drop in the London session. Right, this was the London. Very strong drop, and after that, continuation in the New York session. So the market pressure is still to the downside, and according to the structure, if we go to the daily, the next, according to the structure, the next target is going to be at $4,400. Okay. So according to the structure, we'll still bearish in gold. And if this candle closes today below this low, then this is going to indicate that tomorrow also there is going to be a strong drop in gold. Possibly after testing this level, market is going to drop again. Okay, so this is the expected, you can say, thesis in gold, that market should continue the drop and target this low at $4,400. So that means we are bearish in the daily time frame. And if you have followed me, and if you have been following me for some time, you should know that I have talked about a potential fourth wave which is playing out in the form of A, B, and C structure. So I told you that there were two possibilities. Either the fourth wave is already over and then the fifth wave has already started, in which case market should directly continue higher without becoming bearish in the daily. And I also told you the condition for a bearish daily structure, that was the level at 4,996, and market broke below this low, and after that you can see market is continuing to the downside. So that means that there is a very high probability that market will come all the way down to test this low at $4,400 once again, and also potentially a little bit further drop to the downside before gold once again becomes bullish and continues higher. So why should it continue higher? Because according to the elite wave structure, we are in this fourth wave correction, which is a corrective structure. And if we look at the structure also, this is a very clean and clear three-wave move rather than a five-wave impulsive structure, which should have been the case in case this was a bearish move. In case it was a bearish market and market turned completely bearish, in that case we should have seen a five-wave impulsive move to the downside. But since that did not happen, this was a very clean and clear three-wave structure. This indicates to us that this is nothing but a corrective move where market is right now, and once this correction is over, then we can see another impulsive wave to the upside, which will complete this last wave, which will be our fifth wave, and that will give us our major top in gold. And also yesterday was FOMC, and if you have listened to Powell's speech, then it was very clear that the Feds do not intend in cutting the rates. They want to hold the rates for the longer term because of the higher inflation. So it's very clean and clear that the Feds are not interested to cut rates at this point of time. Rather, they want to hold the rates, and also potentially rate hikes can also happen if the inflation keeps going up. So fundamentally, this is a very clear indication that the Feds are not interested in cutting rates right now. So if they do not cut rates, then fundamentally this is a boost for dollar index. So this is going to boost DXY, and I'm pretty sure I haven't really checked dollar index. I do not in general check dollar chart, because if I trade currency pairs, then maybe I will check it, but rather than that, just to trade gold, I'm not really interested to check dollar index. But if you check it, then I'm pretty sure that it is actually going up right now. And if it goes up, then if you see the correlation between gold and silver, then gold should actually drop to the downside. Okay, and that's why we're seeing this pressure build up in gold, because right now the dollar index is getting boosted, and also possibly the US 100-year bond yields are also getting boosted, and that's the reason that gold is facing pressure to the downside, and we're looking for selling opportunities in gold. According to the structure, this selling is only going to last in the shorter term, because in the higher time frame the market still remains bullish. Okay, so keep that in mind. Okay, so that means our bias is bearish in gold, and we are looking to sell gold, and the next target is going to be at $4,400. So that's pretty much clear to us. Now to reach there, obviously we have to look at the lower time frame structures and accordingly plan our trades. So first of all, let's go to the 4-hour and see what's going on. So in the 4-hour, we had this last valid breakoff structure over here, and after that we can see very strong continuation to the downside. So in the 4-hour, let this candle close, then we can find some POIs, but right now in the 4-hour there is no nearby POI to where price is right now. The only zone that I can see in the 4-hour is going to be this major candle in the 4-hour, which is a very strong imbalance candle. So from there we can look for a selling opportunity, but let this candle close and maybe we can also see a POI over here as well. So in that case we can focus on this zone itself. If market taps this zone, then in the 4-hour this can be a good zone to sell, and we can look for a sell entry from here, and we can target this last low over here. Okay, so this is according to the 4-hour structure. Now you have to understand that market took support from $4,500. So now this level becomes a very important psychological level. Okay, so note that. Okay, so now let's come back to 1 hour. So if we go to the 1 hour, then in the 1 hour you can see that I have already marked a zone over here, because in the 1 hour this is our fair value gap, the strong imbalance that market has created, and this is the zone which is the most important supply area, or you can say the nearest supply area to where price is right now. And you can see that market has already tapped into the zone, and the market is showing clean and clear rejection from this area. So this clearly indicates that the 1 hour POI is also, the price is struggling to break this area and it is getting rejected from here. So yes, it is definitely possible that market can once again drop to the downside from this zone itself without pushing any further. But if it pushes higher, then like I shared with you, the 4-hour POI, you'll be focusing on that zone and you'll be taking your entry from the 4-hour POI instead of this 1-hour POI. Okay, so hope that makes sense. And also if you go to the daily, then in the daily also we have got multiple POIs. We can see we have got pending fair value gap over here, then we have got pending order block. But since our liquidity is here, which is very, it's not very close to the price where it is right now, but since this liquidity is closer to the current price rather than this fair value gap over here, so there is a very high chance that market is going to tap into some lower POIs over here itself, and from there market is going to drop once again to our final target at $4,400. Okay, so hope that makes sense to you. Always remember that market will target the nearest liquidity that it finds. Okay, so in that case there is a very high chance that market will tap into a 1-hour POI or a 4-hour POI before dropping to the downside without pushing all the way up and target all these imbalances in the daily and then dropping to the downside, because for that market needs a lot of fuel to push higher. When the market structure and the momentum is so much bearish, it becomes very difficult for market to find that amount of fuel to push so much and then once again drive to the downside. So always remember whenever market is trying to reverse a trend, then it needs a lot of fuel to completely change the sentiment of the market, to completely turn the direction of the market. So that's very important, you have to note. Okay, so that means that what we can see is that market can actually drop from the 1-hour POI itself, which I have marked. So let's see if market actually gives us any confirmation from here or not. So in the 1 minute, we can see that market has actually created a market structure shift. That means market created this high, then this low, another high you can see which was above the previous high. So this was a break of structure to the upside, and then market drops to the downside and closes below the last low, giving us a market structure shift in the 1 minute. But the only reason that I did not actually take a sell entry over here is because here when market dropped to the downside and broke the structure, there is no displacement which has been created over here, and that's the reason I was not interested to sell gold from here. And there was another reason as well, which was that in the 5 minutes market actually has given us this market structure shift. So in the 5 minutes market is bullish right now, and that's the reason, that was another reason why I did not actually sell. And during the starting of the stream, you must have seen me drawing this trend line, because this is the trend right now. This is the trend line which is now supporting this trend to the upside. So if this one breaks, then definitely we can look for a sell opportunity and we can target this low over here. And that's why I drew this trend line and I was waiting for market to break this trend line. But till now, nothing like that has happened. Market actually has taken support from this last breakout level. So now what we want to see is a breakdown below this trend line, and then we can look for a sell opportunity in gold. Okay, so hope that makes sense, guys. We're looking for a sell opportunity in gold from this zone, which is a 1-hour fair value gap over here. So till now there is no confirmation for a sell opportunity, but yes, if market drops now and breaks this lower trend line, which is supporting this current trend over here, this little bit of buy trend that is going on right now, in that case, if it drops and breaks below the last low, in that case this will indicate that market has failed to create a new high, and rather it created a lower high over here, and market dropped and broke below the recent low over here, indicating that once again the selling pressure has come into the market, and now market can directly drop to the lower after testing this broken level. It can drop once again to the downside to target this low. Okay, so we can actually take an entry from this position after retest and rejection, something like this. Okay, so this is going to be our trade plan for today's New York session. Hope that makes sense. We are bearish in gold, but yes, in the shorter term, market can show a little bit of bounce because market has already displaced quite a lot in the London session and also in the starting of New York session. So definitely a little bit of recovery is possible. And I was expecting a little bit of recovery today, right? If you are in my channel, then you should know that I was expecting some recovery today, that New York session can actually show some recovery today. And that's what exactly we see over here. The 5 minutes becomes bullish. Market comes and creates some displacement. So market comes down, taps into those displacement, and market starts to gain some momentum. But as we know, the high time frame structure is still bearish, and we can actually look for a nice setup to the downside in gold once market breaks below this little bit of trend line that we have got in the 5 minutes. So once this trend line gets broken, we can look for a sell opportunity. So this zone becomes our most important level to watch for. Once market breaks below this low, that means the current trend has fallen, and now once again market will become bearish, and we can look for a sell opportunity right after that. Like I told you, stop loss will go above the high. So best thing to do is wait for market to come down, close below this low, retest this level, and then give rejection. So then we can take an entry and we can target this low over here, and stop loss will go above the rejection candle. So this is the plan in gold right now, and we can catch a little bit of sell over here. And obviously, according to the structure, this will be only our initial target, because we know that according to the daily, gold is actually going for $4,400. And since the momentum is very strong right now to the downside, market can directly go to the downside to our target at $4,400. So this is going to be our trade setup in gold today. So now we just have to wait for market to come down and break down below this support. Then we can take this setup to the downside. Okay, so hope that makes sense, guys, and make sure to like the stream. And also for more updates, you can join my Telegram channel. You can find the link below in the description. Okay, so this is the setup that I'm looking for in gold. Market has tapped into this 1 hour fair value gap, and from here market is clearly showing rejection. So yes, market can once again drop from this zone itself and continue the downside momentum that it has given us since the last recent couple of days. Okay, now let's talk about silver. So one thing, once again, I would like to tell you that this is a fourth wave which is in play. And what can be the bottom, if you ask me, then according to the structure, now this is what it's called ABC structure. Now if I take you to the 4 hour, it will be much more clear. So this is an A wave. Okay, inside the wave 4. Now this is a wave 4. This is the wave 4. So we have got the wave A. Then we have got the wave B top. Okay, and this also consists of clean and clear 3 waves. We have got wave A, we have got wave B, and we have got wave C, clearly consisting of 5 waves. Okay, so yes, the higher time frame waves, these are 3 wave structures, but the lower time frame waves, these are 5 wave structures. And specifically, the wave C consists of 5 waves rather than 3 waves. Okay, so that's something to keep in mind. Okay, so yeah, this is the wave A, this is wave B, and this should be wave C. Now, what should be our target for the wave C? If you ask me, in that case, I have to use the Fibonacci extension tool. Start from the high of the wave A, come down to the low of the wave A, and then drag it to the high of the wave B. And that should give you the 100% extension, which is at $4,222 roughly. Obviously, it doesn't have to be the exact level, but yes, roughly that's the level which market should target now and complete this wave C, which is going to complete this fourth wave. And once this fourth wave is completed, once again, we are going to look for a swing buy opportunity in gold. Okay, keep that in mind. Once again, we are going to look for a swing buy opportunity in gold, and we want to see 5 waves impulsive structure followed by a 3 wave corrective structure, and then a breakout above the last high. This will give us confirmation that the fourth wave has completed and the higher degree wave 5 has started. Okay, so this is very important to keep in mind that this is what we are looking at. Market should drop down. Obviously, according to the structure, 4,400 will be our initial target, but according to Fibonacci, and once again, it doesn't have to be exactly 100% extension level, but this is according to the Fibonacci and the relation between the Elliott wave count. Okay, so according to the Elliott wave, this should be the ideal target for this wave C, which is going to be 100% extension of this wave A over here. Okay guys, and once it is completed, then we will see 5 waves followed by a 3 waves and a breakout of the high of the wave 1. So that is going to indicate that the 5th wave has started. Okay, something like this. Okay guys, and that is going to complete our higher degree 5th wave, and that will be our major top in gold. This is still not a major top in gold. This is just a correction in the higher time frame. Okay, this is a correction in the high time frame, just like we had over here a triangle pattern. Similarly, this is a correction which is a sideways correction. This is also called a flat correction, by the way. Okay, so hope that makes sense. We are inside a massive correction in the higher time frame. This is not a major top in gold. Okay, I'm giving you the view so that you understand what we are expecting next in gold, and so that you are ready for this move, for catching this move to the upside. Okay, once the correction is over. And yes, definitely you can ask me, there are more levels here, 123%. Can this be the target for the wave C, for the wave 4? Yes, surely. If the wave C gets extended, which is possible, in that case, we can also target 123%, but that should be the most of it. Below that, it's not a very ideal, you can say, wave 4 target. In that case, we have to expect, if market drops toward 161% or below that, that means that some kind of a very strong bearish market has started, and in that case we have to adjust our analysis and look at it in a different way. Okay, but till that happens, according to the structure, this is the best possible analysis that we can get right now according to Elliott wave analysis. Okay, so hope that makes sense. Keep in mind that 4,222 is going to be roughly our downside target, but before that, according to the structure, 4,400 is going to be our safe target, or you can say our initial target if you're selling gold right now. Okay, so hope that makes sense. Okay, so that's what we're looking for in the higher time frame, and this is very important to understand because this will give you a very clear view of what we're expecting in gold in the upcoming weeks and also upcoming months. Very important, guys. Okay, now let's go back to 1 hour and see what's going on. So I can see the 1 hour candle is actually closed, and it is closed as a very strong rejection candle. Yes, there are wicks on both the upside and the downside, which is completely fine, but yes, this is a very strong rejection candle from the 1 hour POI that we have drawn over here, this 1 hour fair value gap. So definitely market is struggling in this zone, and we have got good amount of supply area in this zone. So now let's go to the 5 minutes and see what's going on. So in the 5 minutes, you can see this was our support level, which has still not been broken. So we want to see a breakdown of this support and a retest of this support level, which should now turn into a resistance. And once we see that rejection candle from this support, we will take our sell entry in gold, and we will be targeting initially this low. This is going to be our initial target at $4,500, which is now obviously a psychological level, $4,500. And below that, according to the structure, we can target $4,400. And below that, if market continues to the downside, then I have already shared the target with you according to the Fibonacci levels. Okay, so you can follow those targets. But according to the structure over here, just based upon this price action, these two will be your next targets in gold. Okay, but for that, we want to see a breakdown of this support level over here, which is still sustaining this uptrend, this little bit of uptrend that market has started to create. So it has already been tested 3 times, 4 times, and now as the support gets weaker and weaker and we see a breakdown of this support, we'll be looking for a sell opportunity in gold. Okay, so let's wait for the breakdown of this low and then we can look for an entry on rejection from this support level and target these 2 levels. Okay guys, so let's just wait for that. There is no entry yet. We're still waiting for market to break down and only then we'll be taking our entry. Okay, now let's talk about silver a bit because there are some viewers who also trade silver. I know one of my members, actually 2 of my members who actually love to trade silver a lot, and they trade actually silver mostly rather than gold. So silver is highly volatile metal, so obviously you can make very good amount of profits if you catch the right swing, and yeah, you can actually get very good sniper entries in silver. So silver also, just like gold, became bearish when market broke below this low at 78 point, yeah, almost $78 when this candle closed below yesterday. So that gave us the indication that silver has also turned bearish, and we can see that today this sell-off continued to the downside, and this was our initial target. Yesterday I gave you the targets to the downside in silver. So this was our initial target at $72, which has been taken, and below that the market continued all the way down and very close to our final target at $64, but till now market did not actually hit that level. So let's go to the 4-hour time frame and see what's going on. Okay, so in the 4-hour, silver has actually given us a very strong recovery candle, and over here we can see that silver has created this major 4-hour imbalance, which we can now focus on. And once market taps this zone and gives a confirmation from here, we can look for a sell entry, and according to the structure we can target this low over here at $64. Okay, and one thing I can see in silver is that silver is giving respect to the psychological levels a lot. Here we have this low at $78 exactly. Here we have got $72, and this one is at $64. So the exact psychological levels are getting respected in silver. That means the institutions are actually focusing on this levels a lot. So it's a good thing for us. If we look to trade silver, then we can also focus on these levels and target these levels accordingly. Anyhow, so in the 4-hour, this is the zone to watch. Once market taps this zone over here and gives a rejection from here, definitely we can look for a sell entry in silver, and we can target this low over here, which is at $64. And just like in gold, silver has also started a correction over here, and a deeper correction in silver is definitely possible. Now, if I give you the wave count, in that case, what I am looking at right now, according to the structure, it seems like just like gold, this is an extended wave 3, and now elite wave is definitely theoretical, it is subjective, and once again, it completely depends upon the elite wave, you can say, analyzer, like how he's analyzing the market. Like my analysis will be different from somebody else, so it totally depends upon the person himself, like who is watching the market and who is doing the analysis. So in that case, yes, I can argue that the wave 3 was actually completed over here, because very clearly we can see 5 waves over here. But I can also argue that since wave 3 is the largest wave inside an elite wave, most of the times in that case this whole wave is an extended wave 3, and in that case it's possible that this was our wave 3 and now the wave 4 is actually playing out once again in the form of an A, B, C structure, and then market can give us another impulsive 5 waves to complete this higher degree wave 5, and that is going to be our major top in silver. I mean, the kind of correction it has given us, obviously we can say that this is already a major top in silver, but once again, if we talk about the whole cycle of the market, in that case we can expect that one more high should be seen in order to complete this whole cycle, which started from here on March 2020 after we got the low during the times of COVID. Okay, so this is the whole cycle that we are watching right now, where we have got the wave 1, wave 2 correction, which took a lot of time, and then this impulsive wave started, and this whole thing is our wave 3. Now we are inside a wave 4, and another high for the wave 5 can be seen. And once again, like I told you previously, the elite wave micro countings, the micro countings or just an elite wave counting, it totally depends upon the elite wave analyzer who analyzes the elite wave, and it is going to differ from person to person because it is completely subjective. There is no right or wrong count in the market. It's all about perspective, how you are actually looking at the market. Okay, so according to that, if we talk about what can be our target for the fourth wave, in that case, what we can do is we can go to the low of the wave 2, we can drag it to the high of the wave 3, and that should give us the target for the wave 4. Now, the fourth wave target, it's generally between 23% to 38%. If the wave 4 is a very, you can say it's a shallow wave, in that case, we expect market to hold these zones. But if it's a deeper fourth wave, which is also possible, in that case we can focus till 50% and also 61%. But 61% is the, you can say, like that's the last level that we can actually accept as a fourth wave. Below that, if market falls, in that case we cannot consider that this is a fourth wave, because most of the time fourth wave is a very shallow wave. But that also depends upon what was the nature of the wave 2. So sometimes if the wave 2 is a shallow wave and this was not a very deep pullback, in that case the fourth wave will be a very deep pullback. But if the wave 2 was a very deep pullback, in that case the fourth wave is a narrow wave. So you learn all these things inside wave psychology, inside elite wave analysis. Okay, so that is a different thing altogether, but just to give you an understanding, the 61% is going to be the last zone to watch for. Doesn't mean that market exactly has to tap this zone and market cannot go a little bit lower than that. That's definitely fine. If market just goes, just tweaks like this and comes back up and closes back above 61%, that's also a valid fourth wave. So in trading, in wave trading or in counting the wave counts, there is no hard and first rule in the market that this is exactly what market has to follow, else it's completely invalid. No, there is nothing like that. You have to adjust your understanding of the market based upon what the market actually offers you. So according to this condition, the 61% is a viable target, which is around $57. But below that, we have got a structural level of $50 around here. So definitely a tap into the $50 and then a pullback is definitely possible. A week into $50 and then closing back up is definitely possible for silver. And then silver can start the fifth wave like this in the form of an impulsive structure. Okay, so yeah, 61% remains the important level to watch for, and this is one way to find the target for the fourth wave. And another way, like I've already shown you in case of gold, what you can do is you can start from the high of the wave A, go to the low of the wave B, and the 100% extension is going to give you the target for the wave C. In this case, the wave C, it comes around 78%, which is once again too low for a fourth wave. And in that case, I'm not going to use this kind of, this method to find the target for the fourth wave. Okay, so hope that makes sense. It totally depends upon the structure of the market, the current conditions of the market, and based on that, how you do your analysis and how you adjust your wave counting and the relation between the Fibonacci and the wave count. Okay, so this is the zone to watch for in silver. If you're trading silver, then in the shorter term, silver is also bearish, and you can look to target this low at $64. And after that, as market continues to drop with gold, you can expect that gold is going for $57. And below that, like I told you, we have got the structural support of $50 over here. Okay, so this was last, you can say, it's a accumulation zone, or you can say now it becomes a demand zone. So once market taps into this zone, we can see market hold this zone and market can continue higher from this zone itself. Okay, so hope that makes sense. In silver, you have to focus on the 61%, around $57, and below that the $50 mark as well. Okay, so now let's go back to gold and let's see what's going on. So seems like gold is actually showing some strength. Let's go to the 1 hour. Okay, so it's actually showing some strength right now. So there is no closing yet. So in that case, yes, there is no entry right now. So we have to wait for market to give us that closing, but till now market is bullish and market is actually pushing higher. So yes, in that case, there is no trade right now. We have to wait for market to give us something. So what we can see is this is the 4-hour zone. So I like to keep it in this one only. In the 1 hour, we can see that we actually have got this order block, right? So yeah, we'll be focusing on this order block, which now becomes our important level to watch, because in the 1 hour, sorry, this is silver. Okay, so that's why it's not matching up. Okay, so this is actually silver, but even in silver, we have got the 1 hour POI over here, and from here we can look for a sell entry. Okay, now let's go back to gold. So in gold also, market is actually sustaining above the trend line, we can see, and it's very much possible that market can push actually a little bit higher. In that case, what we can do is we can focus on here. So I actually saw this in gold, and that's why I was like too sure about the same structure in silver as well. But anyhow, so this is the order block which you can focus upon in gold, and from here we'll be looking for a sell opportunity in gold. Okay, but if market continues higher, in that case, like I already told you, we have got this massive imbalance candle in the 4-hour time frame, which we'll be focusing upon, and from here we will be looking for a sell opportunity, because the high time frame structure is still bearish and market still needs to drop and target this low at $4,400. Okay, so hope that makes sense. Once again, let's go back to the 1 hour and see how market actually reacts to our order block. Okay, so seems like 1 hour is what's going on? Maybe some issues with the net. Okay, so we're back and let's see what's going on in gold. Okay, so it's pushing a little bit higher, so it's possible market pushes a little bit higher, but till now there is no breakout of this last high. So till that happens, we cannot really expect that market can push higher. But if that happens, in that case we will focus on this 1 hour order block. And if you want to mark these zones on your chart, you can surely do that. You can just mark it as OB, which means an order block. So order block is basically the zone where the institutions have their massive orders. In case market wants liquidity, it is going to tap into this zone, and once again market is going to drop to the downside. So that's basically an order block, which is a imprint, you can say a footprint of the smart money traders. Smart money traders doesn't mean SMC traders, it means the institutional traders who are moving the market. So their pending orders are at this order block. So once market taps into this zone, definitely we can look for a sell opportunity. But yes, for that market has to tap the zone and give a confirmation, and only then we can look for a sell opportunity from here. But right now market is actually struggling to break even this POI, which is the fair value gap, which is also an institutional order flow, which indicates institutional order flow, because this kind of candles are not the money of the retails, rather these are the money of the smart money traders. Okay, once again the institutional traders. Okay, so if we come back to the 5 minutes, then till now there is no closing below this support, so we are still waiting for that. If we get them, then definitely we'll be interested to take a sell entry. Once market breaks this, tests this support, turns into resistance, then we can take an entry from here. But till now there is no confirmation, so we have to wait for that. Okay, we are still waiting for the confirmation for the breakdown below this support. But like I told you, if market, let's say it pushes a little bit higher, in that case you will focus on this order block over here, and above this we have got the 4-hour strong imbalance candle, which is going to be this one. So let me just put all of them in this interval, and in the 4-hour you can focus on this candle, this zone, and from here you can look for an entry. using the 15 minutes time frame structure shift. So you can sell from here. If you get a confirmation in the 15 minutes, then definitely you can look for a sell from here. And according to the structure, you will be targeting this low at $4,400, and below that you can target the Fibonacci levels that I shared with you, which was, if you remember, $4,222. Anyhow, so let's see how market actually reacts from this POI. Market is actually struggling to break above this high, but in silver, market has broken above the previous candle's high. Anyhow, it's completely fine. Silver is more volatile than gold, you should know. And if you trade silver, then definitely this is the zone to watch for in the 1 hour. And if market actually rejects from here, which I can see market is struggling from this zone. So if you see some kind of rejection, then definitely you can look for an entry. Let's go to the 1 minute and see if there is anything right now. Okay, so in the 1 minute, I can see that this is actually the low, which you have to wait to break, and then you can look for an entry. I think this is also the low for the 5 minutes as well. So yes, in the 5 minutes as well, this is the low. So now if market displaces to the downside and breaks below this last low, then you can look for a sell opportunity in silver. Stop loss will go above the high, and your target is going to be at this low according to the structure. And below that, like I already told you, there is another level to watch for, which is going to be at $64. Okay, so this will be your final target in silver. Okay guys, so this will be a trade setup in silver, but for that, wait for market to break below $69, and once it breaks, then you can look for a sell entry in silver. Okay, now let's come back to gold and see what's going on. So gold is actually still in this zone, still struggling to break this zone, and we can see that the 5 minutes is showing rejection from this area. So still it is acting as a supply zone, as a resistance area. So let's see if market is able to break below this support level, then we can look for an entry. But right now there is no entry in gold or silver. Both of them has to give us confirmation to take an entry. We cannot just take an entry because market is showing rejection from an area with 2-3 candles. No, this is not a strong confirmation. If you take entry like that, in that case, you will have to take a lot of losses before you actually make any profits. So you have to wait for market to break below this low, give a strong confirmation, and not just break below this low, right? Because this can also be a liquidity trap. Market can just come down, give a candle closing over here, a red candle closing, but the next candle can be once again a strong green candle, and you will be taken out, right? If you just sell based on this red candle. So that's why I told you that wait for market to break this low, and then retest this support level, which now should turn into a resistance. So once market tests this and gives a rejection from this area, now it clearly indicates that market has turned this support into a resistance, and now you can look for a sell entry from here with much higher probability. Okay, so that's what we are waiting for. We want market to come down, break below this low, and only then we'll be looking for an entry in gold. Okay, so till now, if you look at the structure, that market is still taking support exactly from this trend line. Market has tested it 4 times, and till now market could not actually break this trend line. So this trend line is still holding gold and giving it support to continue this uptrend over here. But if this breaks, and this will be our first indication that gold wants to drop from this fair value gap itself in the 1 hour, and we are going to look for an entry once market breaks below this major support level, this horizontal support level, and not just this trend line. Okay, so once market breaks below this, this will be a much higher probable indication that market wants to go down from here, and we can look for a sell entry. So let's just wait for that. Till now there is no confirmation for that. We have to wait for market to give us the breakdown, and only then we will execute our trade. Okay guys, do like the stream if you find it helpful, and also for more updates you can join my Telegram channel over here. It's completely free. I keep sharing updates in gold and silver throughout the day, so if you're interested you can join. The link is given below in the description. Okay, now let's talk, and yeah, let's look at silver. So silver is also struggling from this order block, and we still need a breakdown below the last low. That will be our confirmation. So till now no confirmation in silver as well. I'd actually like to look at the crypto, what's going on. So Bitcoin was actually kind of bullish. The structure was bullish, but seems like Bitcoin wants to drop down, and this was the order block to watch for, right? I gave you the zone yesterday, but market seems to break down below this lower low, I mean this order block, which is not a very good sign. So it's possible that market can drop from here because this order block in the weekly, it is still being respected. We can see that market tried to break above this fair value gap, not order block, the fair value gap, but market failed to do so. Market just went up, but then the sellers came in and pushed Bitcoin to the downside, and also this daily zone is not holding up. So in that case, it's possible that market can actually start to drop from here. But till now, let's see in the 4-hour what's going on. So the 4-hour has actually turned bearish, guys. So it's possible that Bitcoin can once again drop to the downside. We have got a very clean and clear market structure shift in the 4-hour, and also in the daily market is creating displacement. So things are actually not looking very good for Bitcoin at the moment. So I think we can focus on this fair value gap in the daily time frame, and we can look for a sell opportunity in Bitcoin. And yeah, we can basically target this low. If we get a pullback from here itself, if from here market starts to push higher, then we can look for an entry from here and target this low initially. And then according to the structure, after that we can target this daily low at $65,600, something like this. And after that, as market continues lower, we can target this last low at 59,950 or 60,000, just to make it a psychological level. Okay, so this will be our trade setup in Bitcoin according to the structure. The weekly is actually showing a very strong rejection from this area, and also the 4-hour has given market structure shift. So this is a very strong confirmation that market wants to drop from here, and also our daily POI did not hold. So this gives us more confirmation that it can actually go down from here. So you can focus on this zone, and from here you can look for an entry in Bitcoin. Okay, so hope that makes sense. Let's look at Ethereum. So Ethereum has also, you can say, got rejected from this fair value gap itself. I was expecting Ethereum to take out this high. In that case, it would have tapped into this massive imbalance candle, but that did not happen. Instead, market started to drop very, very close to this level. And once again, in the weekly, we can consider that this was the fair value gap which drove market to the downside. So if Bitcoin drops, then also Ethereum is going to drop. And according to the structure, we can target this low over here. But before that, we have also got another target, which is going to be at this low. So Bitcoin and Ethereum both can give us good amount of drop once again, and we can see a deeper correction in both of them. If we go to the daily, then right now market is testing this important order block in the daily time frame in Ethereum. But if market drops below this, then it is going to indicate that market wants to continue lower. Let me just go to the 1 hour and see if there is any confirmation or not. So till now there is nothing like that. The market is still bearish and it is still dropping. So till there is a market structure shift in the 1 hour, we cannot go for a buying trade in Ethereum. So we have to wait and see how market reacts to this zone. If market comes down and closes candle below this in the daily, that means just like Bitcoin, Ethereum is also not going to respect the order block in the daily, and it is going to continue lower. Okay, so you have to see how I always bring two different pairs into my analysis, and I relate both of them and do my analysis. I'm not just doing analysis on Ethereum. When I'm doing that, I'm also bringing the current situation in Bitcoin, and I'm correlating both of them and giving you the analysis. Okay, similarly, when I do the analysis in silver, I'm not just analyzing silver, I also bring gold to it. So you can also do the same. This helps you to give more edge into your understanding of the market structure and what's the intent of the market and where the market can go next, because these are correlated pairs. So whenever one moves in one direction, the other also will follow sooner or later. Okay, so yeah, this is something that you can do, and that helps you to give you an edge in your analysis and in your bias as well. So anyhow, so over here we have got this zone. If market disrespects this zone, then we can focus on this fair value gap, and from here, once it retests and gives an entry, we can take an entry, and according to the structure in Ethereum, we can target both of these lows. Okay, so crypto is once again looking kind of bearish because the weekly POI is coming into play and market has given strong displacement from the weekly POI. So definitely we can look for sell opportunities in both of them using confirmations. Okay, so make sure you do that. Okay, so now let's go back to gold and see what's going on. Okay, so we can see that this is silver, by the way. Anyhow, so this is gold. So market has actually broken the trend line, but once again, the trend line is not our entry point. We need to see a breakdown below this horizontal support. Okay, so that's what we are waiting for. Once we see that, then on pullback and a retest of this support, we will look for a sell entry. Okay, but right now there is nothing like that. But yes, the trend line has been finally broken with a strong red candle. But once again, we are not interested to trade trend lines because trend lines are very tricky and market can just reverse from any point. Market can reverse from here itself. You can't do anything about that. Market could go a little bit higher and then it can drop. So it's a very tricky thing to trade. Or market can also just take out this low and then market can reverse. So you cannot rely on trend line. I was a trend line trader before, but trend line is something that I cannot really rely upon a lot. But anyhow, if you focus on the horizontal level, that this is a very important level to watch for because previously this was a resistance level, right? Then it turned into a support level, right? But now if market fails to create a new high and market starts to drop from here itself and breaks below this low, that means that the sellers have once again come into the market and market can directly drop from here without giving us any further move to the upside. Okay, so this is what we want to see. We want to see a breakdown of this horizontal support, and once that happens, then on a retest of this support, which now should turn into a resistance, we will be looking for a sell entry in gold. Okay, and what is this zone? For those of you who have just joined, you can see that this is the 1 hour fair value gap over here, which we are tracking. And from here, market is showing rejection. The previous candle was a strong rejection candle, and we are also looking to sell from this zone. But till now, there is no strong confirmation that we can actually sell. And that's why we are waiting for this horizontal support to break. And once it breaks, we'll be trading gold to the downside on retest of this support level, which should be turned into a resistance. Okay, so hope that makes sense. But if market actually trades through this fair value gap, then just above this fair value gap, we have got this order block where the pending orders are for the institutions. And once market taps into this zone, we can look for an entry in gold to the downside. Okay, so hope that makes sense. But this is the first zone to watch for from where market is already showing rejection. So yes, that's where we are waiting for market to break down below this support, and then we will execute our entry. So you can see market is approaching this support level. So let's see what market does. If market is able to break it, then on retest of this level, we'll be looking for an entry. Okay, guys, so hope that makes sense. And yeah, according to the structure, this is going to be our initial target. Okay, this will be our initial target at $4,500, which is a psychological level right now. And below that, the final target, according to the daily structure, is going to be at $4,400. Okay, so let's see how this trade plays out. This should be a very nice and clean setup. This is going to be our trade setup. Okay, guys, so we are bearish in gold. Okay, so make sure you do not confuse yourself. We are not looking to buy gold just because there was a 5-minute structure shift. Yes, this was needed to bring more buyers into the market because those who are looking for this structure shift, they have bought from this area and they have already been, they should be taken out right now because their stop loss is at this swing low over here, right? And there will be more traders who will be interested to buy from this order block candle in the 5 minutes, and their stop loss will be over here, and that's what they are waiting for. So they should also be taken out. Okay, so overall what I want to say is that once market breaks below this low, these lows will be taken, which I think it has already been taken. So yes, these buyers have already been liquidated. The next liquidation will happen below this lows, and below that we have got this low as well, so that all of the buying which has happened over here all of them will be taken out and market will get enough liquidity to drive quickly to the downside. Okay guys, so hope that makes sense. The support is breaking down as expected, so that's what was expected according to our analysis, and that's what we can see over here. So once it breaks down, we're not going to take an aggressive entry. Like I told you, this can be a liquidation. Market can drop and instantly it can pump. So that's why we want to see market breaks down and then retest this zone and then gets rejected from here. Okay, so that's what we want to see. So once we see that, in that case, this will be a much stronger confirmation, and then we can take an entry from here. Okay, so let's see what market does. Let's look at silver as well. So silver is also dropping, and in silver also we are looking for a sell opportunity, and this is our zone, the order block in the 1 hour. You can see market has taken out the previous candle's high, tapped into the order block, and market is now dropping. But in silver, we want to see a breakdown below this low in the 5 minutes. This will be our confirmation, and then we can take an entry in silver. And according to the structure, if you want to trade silver, this is going to be our initial target at $65.5, and after that the last low according to the daily is going to be at this low, which is at $64. So this is going to be your final target in silver. Okay, so you can trade any of them, gold or silver, whatever you like, whatever you prefer. But yes, in both of them we are looking for selling opportunities, and in both of them we are waiting for strong confirmation. Okay, so let's see how this plays out. Market is already showing weakness, and if this 5 minutes candle closes below this low, then that is going to turn the sentiment bearish in the 5 minutes, and we can see more drop in gold. Okay, so till now we haven't taken any entry. We're still waiting for market to okay, so market has actually closed this candle below this support level. So now this becomes a resistance level. I mean, it should tap and get rejected. Only then it will turn into a resistance, and then we can take an entry in gold. Okay, but till now we haven't taken any entry. We're still waiting for a rejection from this area, and only then we'll be looking for an entry. Okay, so what I would like to do is I would like to mark this low over here, the body of this previous support candle, and I would like to go to the 1 minute time frame. So in the 1 minute now, if I see a tap and a rejection from this candle over here, which was the 5 minute candle body support level, then we can take an entry from here. Okay, so that will be our entry in gold. Okay, so let's go to the 1 minute and see what's going on. So in the 1 minute, we can see that till now market did not tap into our body of this candle over here, this level. So let's wait for that. Once we see that, then we can take an entry. Okay. Okay, so this is a very strong candle closing, very good. We have also got good volume. So this is clearly indicating that market wants to drop, but we want that retest to take place and a rejection, and then we can take an entry from here. Okay, let's look at silver also, because like I told you, both of them are correlated. So if gold drops, silver should also drop, but in silver till now we do not have any breakdown yet. We need to see a breakdown of this low, and only then we will have our confirmation. Okay, so let's see what's going on. Okay, we want to see a tap and a rejection candle. Till now we haven't seen that. So let's say this is the zone. So let's see if market gives us a tap and a rejection candle, then we are going to take our entry. Okay, so let's see if that happens. It doesn't exactly have to tap this candle over here, because the wicks are also important over here. So we can also focus on this wicks. So the wicks have already been tapped into, and now if this candle actually closes down, then we can take an entry in this candle itself in the 1 minute. So let's see how this candle closes. Okay, seems like it's a good candle. It's a strong candle. After market tapped this last low of this candle over here, market is showing rejection. So we can actually take an entry. Yes, you can take an entry right now in gold, and you can keep the stop loss over here just above the previous 5-minute candle's high. Okay, because this was the candle which closed below this low, which broke this support. So now there should not be enough buying that market goes all the way up and takes all the sellers of this candle, right? Because this candle gave this breakdown over here, so all of them should not be taken out. Even if market goes a little bit higher and wicks up, that's fine, but then market should start to drop once again. Okay, so yes, you can take a sell entry right now and keep your stop loss just above the high of the previous candle, and your initial target will be at $4,503, and your final target will be at $4,400. So you can catch a good amount of swing trade over here. Okay, so our trade is activated. Okay, so we have already sold. Okay, so I'm just writing it over here, sell gold. Okay, your stop loss will be above the previous candle's high, which will be at $4,605, just to give it a psychological edge. Okay, your targets will be, your initial target or TP1 will be at $4,503, and your second target will be at $4,400. Okay, so this is going to be your trade setup in gold. Market has broken down below the support without creating a new higher high, clearly indicating the selling pressure from this 1 hour POI, and that's the reason we actually sold. And also we used the 1 minute confirmation. So in the 1 minute, market came over here, tapped into this last support candle over here, and then market gave a red candle, which was a rejection candle with good volume, and that's why we took this entry directly from the 1 minute's time frame. Okay, so hope that makes things clear. This is our sell entry in gold. According to the structure, the horizontal support has been broken, and now gold should be ready to drop to the downside. Okay guys, so let's see how this trade plays out. It should be a good trade. It's a very clean setup along with the structure. Our entry is from this 1 hour fair value gap over here. Market has shown a good rejection candle in the last 1 hour, and we have taken the entry after the 5-minute support has been turned into a resistance. That's why we took this entry from here, and now slowly market can be a little bit slow over here, but surely market should drop to the downside and target these lows over here. So let's see how this trade plays out now. And also guys, do like the stream if you find the stream helpful, and for more updates you can join my Telegram channel over here, where I keep sharing all kinds of updates in gold and silver. Okay, let's look at silver as well, what's going on. So silver hasn't really broken down below this low, but once it gives a breakdown along with displacement, you can also sell silver. But in silver, there is no confirmation yet, but yes, we can see the weakness. And once again, silver is dropping from this 1 hour order block. And once we get this breakdown below this low, then we can look for a sell entry in silver as well. Okay, so hope that makes sense. So we've already sold gold, and let's see how this trade goes. Okay, now it should start to drop. We can already see the weakness. Okay, let's see how this trade plays out. Let's look at silver. Okay, so no drop yet. You can see that this is just a wick. We want to see closing. We want to see candle closing below this low, and only then this will give us a 5-minute bearish structure in silver, and then we can look for a sell entry on pullback. Okay, but till now there is no closing yet, so we have to wait for that. Let's look at 1 minute what's going on. Okay, so market is just sideways over here. But the pressure is still to the downside. It's a good setup, guys. Even if you consider displacement, then in the 5 minutes we had this displacement candle over here, right? Market tapped into it and then market breaks below this last low. So those who use CISD, then this is actually a CISD model, but I did not realize that. I was actually focusing on this level as a support and a resistance, and that's how I actually took this entry, but this is a CISD confirmation. Okay, so let's see how this trade plays out. It should start to drop. The selling can be seen over here. The weakness is definitely there. We can see imbalance over here as well. So that's why I left a little bit of room in the stop loss, or I could have just kept my stop loss above this zone over here. But since there was this displacement candle over here, that's why I kept a little bit of room, because market can once again, it can just become sideways over here and tap into this zone before going down once again. So that's why I kept that little bit of room over here, because this is the most important candle over here, which broke support to the downside. So now all the sellers over here should not be taken out. If that happens, that means that market is not ready to go down. In that case, market will see further upside momentum, and maybe it is going to tap the order block over here in the 1 hour before it starts to go down. But overall structure is bearish, and we took our entry after lots of confirmation. So I don't think that there should be any issue with this trade. The weakness can be seen over here. Even though market initially goes up, it creates wicks on the upside, clearly indicating the selling pressure. So I think slowly it is going to come down, and it makes sense why market is actually reacting over here, because we have got a 5 minutes order block which market is reacting from. So yes, there can be some reaction from here, but like I told you, we have got a POI over here as well, which should once again push market to the downside and towards our target. Okay, so hope that makes sense. You understand why market is moving like it is doing right now, because we have got this 5 minutes order block, and like I already told you that already there were buyers from this zone. Those who had traded mitigation block, they have bought, they have been taken out, and then there will be new buyers who will be interested to buy because the 5 minute is bullish, and they'll be like, okay, let's buy it from here and we can target this last high. So now market is giving them chance to enter towards the buying side so that their stop loss can be taken out, which is going to be just below this low over here. Okay, so hope that makes sense why market is moving the way it is, but the high time frame structure is bearish, and I think market should drop from here. Okay guys, so let's see how this trade plays out. Let's look at silver as well, what's going on. So silver is sideways over here. Till now, no breakdown, but yes, we want to see a breakdown, and then we can also sell silver. But till now there is no closing below this low. The 5 minute is still bullish. We want to see a breakdown, a closing of this low. In that case, it will become bearish, and then we can look for a sell entry. Okay, so hope that makes sense. So let's see how this plays out. Gold is starting to drop, so silver will also show weakness and it will also start to become weak and it will drop to the downside, and then we can look for an entry. But till now there is no entry in silver, but in gold we have already taken an entry. So yeah. Mhm. Okay, let's look at indices. Sorry. Okay, so let's look at this one. So indices is also bearish right now. That means the stocks are falling off. So the money is getting out of gold, the money is getting out of crypto as well, and money is also getting out of stock market, guys. So this means one thing, that's recession. And well, if that's the case, then everything is going to drop for a long term and everything is going to crash. So it's not a very healthy sign for the global economics. So let's see what happens, but obviously it's not a very good sign when everything starts to drop. It's a very bad sign. It shows that the current economy is unstable and a new world order can take place instead of the current economy. So this is not a very healthy sign. So yeah, let's look at gold, what's going on. Okay, so gold is showing strength. Like I told you, from this order block, it can show some strength, and that's what exactly it is doing right now. And market has tapped into our fair value gap over here, this POI, and that's the reason, like I told you, I did not keep my stop loss just above this zone, but above this candle itself. So now this zone should be the one which should drop gold once again to the downside. Okay, so let's see how this plays out. We are selling gold, and yeah, the market should start to drop. Let's see what market does. It can once again try to push higher just to bring in more buyers into the market and liquidate them, and then it can start to drop once again. Okay, so let's see what market does. But yes, we have got a POI which should once again push gold to the downside and market should drop now. Okay, so let's see how this plays out. Hmm. So silver is also taken support. That's why the correlation is important. When you see the confirmation in silver and also in gold, and then both of them are going to move in one single direction, then it becomes a high probable setup. But when you see the setup in one and the other did not give confirmation, so that means that there can be something that can play out against you. But we have used confirmation, so we do not have to worry that much because we have got the structure along with us, the trend along with us, which is to the downside, and market should actually drop from here. This is the PY like I told you about, so market should actually reject gold once again to the downside. And like I told you, this can be a invitation for the buyers, those who will think that this is a liquidity. So for them, this will be an invitation, and yeah, they can be trapped and they can be liquidated before market starts to drop to the downside. So let's see how this plays out. Market can be a little slow as well right now because the actual move has already happened. The big fall has already happened and market has also moved over here in the New York. Market can get a little bit tired right now. Exhaustion can happen and market can also become, a little bit sideways over here, do something like this. But overall structure remains bearish, and that's why we have taken this trade according to the structure. And now it should start to drop. But once again, this reaction was expected because we had this order block over here. So yes, it's completely fine. It's acceptable. But we also have got a POI over here, the fair value gap. And now from here, market should start to drop. So no confirmation in silver. So we have to wait for market to break down below this low. Now if it starts to drop and breaks below this low with displacement, then this will be a strong confirmation in silver, and that will also give an indication that gold is also ready to drop, and gold will also give a fall right then and there. But till now, nothing like that in silver. So gold is also just being sideways. But once silver starts to drop, show the weakness, then gold is also going to start the weakness, and it's also going to start to drop. So let's see how this plays out. Okay, so in the 1 hour, we have got the zone market showing good reaction, completely fine. Okay, so let's see how it plays out. It's a very strong zone for trapping buyers, and as you can see, market is inviting more and more buyers. And if this candle closes above in the 5 minutes, this will be a invitation for the buyers, and the buyers will be interested to look for buys in gold. But like I told you, the high time frame structure is bearish, so market can drop once again to the downside with a massive candle and take all the buyers out in one single candle. Okay, so yeah, let's see how it plays out. We're still bearish in gold, and let's see what market does over here. It can also be sideways like I told you, because this is the New York PM session, and so market can just be over here, do something like this, just drop the volume, because you can see already the volume is going down. So something like that can also happen. Okay, so let's see what happens over here in this trade. Silver is still taking support from here, so the 5 minutes is not bearish yet, but very soon silver should also drop and break below this low, and then you can take an entry in silver as well. Okay, so this is the 4 hour POI, and this is the 1 hour order block which we are looking at right now. But if market pushes higher, then you can focus on this POI. But for now, the 1 hour is showing rejection, so we can just focus on this POI itself. Over here in silver, we have got this order block, so I think market can show reaction from here itself. This is not the exact order block. The order block is over here. Okay, so this will be the POI. Okay, so you haven't actually taken any trade in silver yet. We are still waiting for a strong confirmation, and only then we will take our entry. There is no confirmation in silver yet. We are still waiting for that. Okay, so if you want to trade silver, then make sure you wait for the confirmation, a breakdown below this low in the 5 minutes, and only then you can take your entry. But till then, there is no confirmation. So gold has actually closed the 5 minute candle above this high. Like I told you, this will be a very strong trap for the buyers, right? This will bring more buyers into the market. Like I told you, now the buyers will be like, okay, so this was just a liquidity. This was just to trap sellers over here, and now market should actually push higher. So this will be the reasoning of the buyers, and so the buyers will be interested to buy right over here and put their stop loss below this swing low. Okay, so let's see what market does. If market wants to drop, then they should drop right now and liquidate the buyers, their stop losses, and then market should go down. So let's see what it does. Okay, so till now the buying is actually quite strong. Okay, so seems like our stop loss actually got taken out. Okay, so that's fine. We have actually used confirmation for our entry. We took entry once market broke below the support and has tapped into this zone and shown 1 minute rejection. So that's why we took the entry. So it's completely fine. So we will now wait for market to once again break down below this low, but this is not going to be a high probable entry. If now market rejects from this order block and breaks down once again, this is not going to be a high probable entry, but still it can be taken, something like this, a breakdown and once again a retest of this zone and then a drop. So that can be taken. Else, if market actually pushes higher, in that case we'll focus on this order block candle, and from here we will take our entry. Okay, so let's see what market does. If market drops directly once again, because like I told you, it's still possible that market can drop, because this is an invitation for the buyers. So it's possible that market drops once again to the downside and retest this zone, and then market starts to drop. Something like this. Okay, the same thing which we have done over here, and I told you right now that market, the volume is going down, so market can just be sideways over here. So market can also just hang around over here, and then slowly it can start to drop like this. Okay, so that is also possible, but overall the structure is bearish, and market created a new lower low, giving a breakdown, failed to create a new higher high, clearly indicating that the selling pressure is still there in the market, and in that case the pressure still remains to the downside. Okay guys, so do not think that market is bullish or something. That's not the case at all. Market is still bearish, and we're still looking for short opportunities, but here market can just play around a bit over here. Why? Because the volume is going down right now, and when that happens, market generally tends to get sideways. During this hour, when it's the New York PM session, market can do something like this. Okay, so it should not be too surprising. Market can become sideways like this, and then market can start to drop. Okay, but if market, let's say market starts to push higher, which should not be the case because here market could not create a high, but let's say market starts to push higher from here and market breaks above the high, in that case you will focus on this 1 hour order block area between 4668 and 4720. This will be your zone to watch, and from here we'll be looking for a sell opportunity. Okay, so hope that makes things clear. We're still bearish in gold, and we can see that market is actually reacting from this 5 minutes order block, and market can once again drop from here. So let's say we can take another entry if market breaks below this low. So this will be our 1 minute market structure shift confirmation, and then we can take another entry. But basically right now market can just become sideways, because like I told you, it's the New York PM session, and slowly the volume will start to go down, and in that case market can just become sideways over here. Okay, so let's see what happens if market breaks below this low with displacement, and this will be our confirmation that gold can directly drop once again to the downside, and in that case this will actually become what I told you before, a trap for the buyers. Okay, so let's see what happens now. If market drops and breaks below the 1 minute low, then we'll have our confirmation, and we can once again take an entry in gold. Okay, so you don't have to be disheartened. Okay, you just have to follow the structure, the analysis, the confirmations, take your entries, and whatever the outcome is, you have to accept it. That's it. Okay guys, so let's see if we get a breakdown now below this low, then we can look for an entry. And in silver as well, market is respecting this order block over here, and market is showing rejection. But in silver, we are going to wait for market to break down below this low, and only then we'll be taking our entry. Okay, so let's see what market does. And another scenario is market can just become sideways over here. In that case, we cannot trade this market. We need a clean and clear structure and confirmation to take an entry. But right now, yeah, market can just become sideways over here. But if market starts to drop once again and breaks below this low, then you can execute another entry in gold. Okay, so let's see what market does. This is our last breakout structure in 1 minute. Now if market drops below this low with displacement, then we can take an entry. But till now market is actually showing good strength in the 1 minute, and market is pushing higher. Well, in that case, we have to wait for market to push higher and give us a new higher high, tap into our order block, and from there only we can look for an entry. Okay, so the 1 hour candle has actually closed, and well, this is not a very strong selling candle. We had this strong selling candle from our 1 minute fair value gap, but the next candle, which was this one, should have been a strong rejection candle and a strong displacement to the downside. But this candle just came down, took out the low of the previous candle, and gave a closing back up with a huge wick on the downside. So this is not a good sign. This is not showing that market is weak enough to directly drop from here. So in that case, once again, two scenarios can happen. Either market will go up from here, create a new high, tap into our order block, and from here it is going to drop like this. Okay. Another one is market can just become sideways over here, and finally it is going to go down. Okay, so something like this. So let's see which one plays out. But for now, definitely right now you cannot really sell gold, or you can buy gold, because this is not a buying market at all. Market can trap you in either direction, and market can just be sideways over here. So you have to wait for a strong confirmation. Right now, till now we do not have anything, and silver is still pushing higher, so we just have to wait. If market gives a new high, in that case we will have to focus on this 4-hour fair value gap, and from here we'll be looking for a sell opportunity. Okay, but in gold we have got the 1-hour POI, which is going to be this order block, and from here we'll be looking for a sell opportunity, because the structure is still bearish, guys. Okay, so you do not have to worry about that. So do not go for buying gold just because the 5 minutes have become bullish, and even if market pushes higher and gives a new high above the previous high, don't just go and buy gold, because that is going to be a trap for buyers, and market is going to tap into this order block just above this high, and then market is going to go down once again.